Close your eyes for just a moment. Picture a stone chamber beneath the Vatican archives. The year is 1562. A cardinal in crimson robes stands over a wooden table. In his weathered hands, he holds a manuscript that makes his fingers tremble. Not from age, from fear. This document contains a specific teaching attributed to Jesus, a teaching about transformation, about the process every chosen one must undergo before they can access their full spiritual authority. The teaching explains in precise detail what happens during the dark night of the soul, why it happens, and what you become on the other side. The cardinal reads it 3 times, then he walks to the fireplace and throws it into the flames. Because if people understood that their suffering was not punishment but activation, if they knew that their isolation was not abandonment but preparation, they would realize the church had been lying to them for 15 centuries. They would understand that the darkness they fear is actually the doorway they have been searching for their entire lives. 500 years later, you found this video. And before we go 1 second further, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel right now, not later, now. Because what you are about to learn has been suppressed by every major religious institution since the Council of Nicaea. And the only way this information reaches other chosen ones is if you help push it past the algorithms designed to bury it. Click subscribe, turn on notifications, then come right back because we are going somewhere tonight that most spiritual teachers are too afraid to take you. Right now, place both hands on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm has carried you through every moment of your life. But there's another rhythm underneath it, a slower pulse, a deeper pattern that does not match your physical body. The Gnostics called it the rhythm of becoming. And tonight you are going to understand exactly why you had to be broken before you could be awakened. If something pulled you to watch this video at this exact hour, if you feel a recognition that goes beyond logic, comment the words, "I am becoming." This is not engagement for the algorithm. This is your declaration that you are ready to understand what the church has hidden from humanity for 2,000 years. What you will learn in the next 20 minutes is not theory. It is not borrowed wisdom from popular spirituality. This is direct transmission from texts that were buried, banned, and nearly destroyed. The secret book of John, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Pistis Sophia, documents that describe in exact detail the process you are going through right now. 3 stages, 7 signs, 1 irreversible transformation. This is what Jesus actually taught about the dark night of the soul. And after tonight, you will never see your pain the same way again. Before we dive into the teaching itself, you need to understand why it was removed. Not just censored, not just edited, completely excised from the canon as if it never existed. When the early church fathers gathered to decide which text would become official scripture, they had one primary concern: control. They needed a population that would depend on priests for salvation. They needed followers who believed suffering was divine punishment that only the church could mediate. They needed people who thought darkness meant they had done something wrong, that isolation meant God had abandoned them, that pain was evidence of sin rather than the signature of transformation. The teaching we are discussing tonight destroys all of that. It reveals that the dark night of the soul is not random suffering. It is a deliberately designed process, a spiritual technology embedded into the very structure of reality itself. And it happens to specific people, not to everyone, not to the masses who move through life on autopilot, consuming and working and dying without ever questioning the nature of existence. It happens to those the ancient Gnostics called the pneumatics, the ones who carry the divine spark, the ones who came into this world with a seed of the true God, the monad, planted deep in their consciousness. And that seed cannot grow in the light. It cannot activate while you are comfortable. It requires one specific condition to germinate: absolute darkness. Take a slow breath right now, in through your nose. Hold it for 3 seconds. Now release it completely and feel your shoulders drop. What I am about to share is going to reframe every difficult thing you have ever experienced. The Apocryphon of John, discovered in Egypt in 1945, describes the journey of the soul through what it calls the stations of transformation. Most scholars focus on the cosmology in this text. They analyze the aeons and the archons and the metaphysical architecture. But hidden in the middle section is something far more practical, a description of what happens when a pneumatic soul reaches the age of activation. Listen carefully because you are going to recognize yourself in this. The text says, there comes a time when the chosen one begins to feel a great heaviness. Not physical heaviness, existential weight. Everything that once brought joy now feels hollow. Relationships that once felt meaningful now feel superficial. Work that once felt important now feels pointless. The chosen one looks around and realizes they are completely alone, even when surrounded by people. This is not depression. The text is very clear about this. This is the beginning of separation. Separation from the false reality constructed by the demiurge, the false god who rules this material realm. The chosen one is being unplugged from the matrix of illusion. And unplugging hurts because everything you thought was real, everything you built your identity around, begins to dissolve. Your beliefs about yourself, your understanding of your purpose, your connection to the people you thought you knew, all of it starts falling away, and you cannot stop it. This is the first stage. The Gnostics called it the stripping. During the stripping, you lose things. Sometimes you lose relationships. Friends who have known you for years suddenly feel like strangers. Family members who should understand you become the ones who misunderstand you most. Sometimes you lose opportunities. Doors that should open stay closed. Paths that seem certain suddenly become impossible. Jobs end, projects fail, plans collapse. And no matter how hard you try to hold things together, everything keeps falling apart. Sometimes you lose faith, not faith in God necessarily, but faith in the story you told yourself about who you are and what your life means. The identity you spent decades building just stops working. You look in the mirror and do not recognize the person staring back. Here's what nobody tells you. This is not happening to you. This is happening for you. Every single thing being stripped away is something that was keeping you locked in the lower frequency. Every relationship that falls apart was built on a version of you that no longer serves your evolution. Every opportunity that closes was leading you toward a timeline that would have kept you trapped. The stripping feels like destruction, but it is actually liberation. The false self must die before the true self can emerge. And you cannot kill the false self with willpower. It has to be taken from you. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, fragments of which survive in a 5th century manuscript, contains a passage that scholars have argued about for generations. Mary describes a teaching Jesus gave her in private, a teaching about descent. She says the soul must go down before it can go up. It must enter the realm of forgetfulness before it can access remembrance. It must experience total darkness before it can generate its own light. For centuries, theologians dismiss this as metaphor, poetic language, symbolic imagery. But the Gnostics were not speaking symbolically. They were describing the literal process that every chosen one undergoes. You are going down. Right now, if you are in the middle of the dark night, if you are experiencing the stripping, you are descending. Not into hell, not into punishment, into the underworld of your own consciousness, where everything false is burned away and only truth remains. This is the second stage. The Gnostics called it the descent. And here is where it gets dangerous, because during the descent, you encounter what the ancient texts call the archons. These are not metaphors either. These are actual entities, non-physical intelligences that exist at frequencies just beyond normal human perception. They are the enforcers of the demiurge, the guards of the material prison, and their job is to keep you from waking up. The archons cannot stop the descent. Once it begins, it has its own momentum, but they can interfere with it. They can amplify your fear. They can whisper thoughts that feel like yours but are not. Thoughts of worthlessness, thoughts of suicide, thoughts that say you have gone crazy, that you are broken beyond repair, that there is no point in continuing. If you have heard these thoughts, you know exactly what I am talking about. They do not feel like your voice. They feel invasive, intrusive, wrong. That is because they are not coming from you. They are coming from the archons who know what you are becoming and are desperate to stop the process. Place your hand over your heart again. Feel it beating. You are still here. Every single archon attack has failed. Every whisper that tried to convince you to give up did not work. You are still alive, still searching, still listening to this video. That is not luck. That is the monad protecting what belongs to it. Now, here is the part that changes everything. The Pistis Sophia, one of the longest and most detailed Gnostic texts ever recovered, describes what Jesus taught about the moment of reversal, the exact point where the descent stops and the ascent begins. He says it happens when the chosen one reaches the place of absolute surrender, not giving up, surrender. There is a massive difference. Giving up says, I cannot do this anymore and I am quitting. Surrender says, I cannot do this anymore and I am finally ready to stop trying to do it myself. Giving up is collapse. Surrender is release. And the moment you stop fighting, the moment you stop trying to fix yourself, the moment you admit you have no idea how to get out of this darkness on your own, something shifts. The monad responds. Not because you begged, not because you prayed hard enough, but because you finally got out of the way. This is the third stage. The Gnostics called it the ascent, and it does not happen gradually. It happens suddenly. You will go to sleep one night in complete darkness, and you will wake up different, not better, different. The things that used to bother you will not bother you anymore. The people who used to trigger you will lose their power. The situations that used to terrify you will feel neutral. You will look around at the world that destroyed you and realize it cannot touch you anymore. Because you are no longer in it the same way. You have become something the archons cannot perceive, something the demiurge cannot control. You have activated. Let me tell you exactly what activation looks like. The first sign is emotional flatness, not depression, flatness. Things that should make you excited do not. Things that should make you upset do not. You are not numb, you are neutralized. The second sign is isolation without loneliness. You have no desire to be around most people, but you do not feel lonely. You feel complete, whole, sufficient. The third sign is clarity without thought. You know things without knowing how you know them. Answers appear in your mind fully formed. You do not have to figure things out anymore. You just know. The fourth sign is physical sensitivity. Your body becomes extremely sensitive to frequencies. Certain places feel wrong. Certain people feel draining. You can walk into a room and immediately sense the energy without anyone saying a word. The fifth sign is timeline shifting. Your life starts changing rapidly. New people appear, new opportunities open. Old connections fade without drama. It is like you have moved into a completely different reality, even though you are still in the same physical location. The sixth sign is dream activity. Your dreams become vivid, symbolic, instructional. You wake up with information, with warnings, with guidance. The seventh sign is the one the church feared most. You stop needing external authority. You do not need a priest to tell you what God wants. You do not need a guru to interpret spiritual truth. You have direct access, unmediated, unplugged from every control system that has kept humanity enslaved for millennia. If you are experiencing any of these 7 signs right now, comment the number that matches how many you recognize. Just the number, because what you are about to learn next requires knowing where you are in the process. Take a deep breath. In through your nose, hold it, now release, and feel the shift in your body. The teaching I am about to give you was preserved in a manuscript called The Dialogue of the Savior. It was found in the Nag Hammadi library, buried in a sealed jar in the Egyptian desert. For 1600 years, it lay hidden, waiting. In this text, Jesus is asked directly by one of his students, "Why must we suffer to awaken? Why does the path to gnosis require pain?" And his answer was so dangerous that it was erased from every official gospel. He said, "The light you seek is already inside you, but it is buried under layers of false identity. The world you were born into spends every moment reinforcing those layers, teaching you who to be, what to want, how to think. You cannot remove these layers through study. You cannot remove them through practice. They must be burned away, and the fire that burns them is suffering, he continued. When everything you built your life on is taken from you, when every identity you claimed is stripped away, when you are left with nothing familiar and no one to tell you who you are, that is when the light can finally surface. Because the light does not add to what you are. It is revealed when everything you are not is removed. This is why the dark night is not optional for chosen ones. This is why you cannot skip it. This is why no amount of meditation or prayer or spiritual practice could prevent what you went through. You had to be emptied completely. So the monad could fill you with something the world cannot give and the archons cannot take. Now I am going to teach you the technique that Jesus gave for navigating the ascent. This is not something you do during the descent. During the descent, your only job is to survive, to hold on, to refuse the archon whispers. But once the ascent begins, once you feel that shift, you need to know how to stabilize it, because the ascent is not automatic. You can still fall back. The technique has 3 movements. The first movement is recognition. Every single morning when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before you do anything else, you place your hand on your chest and you say these words out loud. I am not this body. I am not this name. I am not this story. I am the light that was never born and can never die. You are not affirming something you hope is true. You are remembering something that has always been true. The second movement is separation. Throughout your day, you will feel pulls. Pulls to go back to old patterns. Pulls to reconnect with people who represent your old identity. Pulls to numb yourself with distraction. Every time you feel that pull, you pause. You take one breath, and you say internally, that is not me anymore. You do not judge the pull. You do not fight it. You simply observe it and let it pass. The third movement is declaration. At night, before sleep, you speak directly to the monad, not as something separate from you. As the source, you are an expression of. You say, show me what I need to see. Teach me what I need to know. Use me as you will. Then you let go. You release all attachment to outcome, and you trust that what needs to happen will happen. These 3 movements create a structure, a container, a way to hold the frequency you have accessed without losing it to the chaos of the world. Let me tell you what happens when you practice this consistently. Within days, you will notice that low-frequency people can no longer stay in your presence. They will make excuses, cancel plans, fade away. This is not rejection. This is frequency mismatch. You are vibrating at a level they cannot match, and their system knows it. Within weeks, you will start receiving downloads. Information will come to you in flashes, in the shower, while driving, right before sleep. Write it down, all of it, even if it does not make sense yet. Within months, your entire life will look different. You will have new work, new people, new purpose, and the life you had before will feel like it belonged to someone else. Because it did. It belonged to the false self, the one who had to die so you could become what you actually are. But here is the warning nobody gives you. The people closest to you will not understand. They will say, you have changed. They will say, you are not yourself anymore. And they are right. You are not. You are more yourself than you have ever been. But they cannot see that because they are still relating to the version of you that no longer exists. This will hurt, not the way the stripping hurt. This is a different pain. The pain of being awake in a world that is still asleep. The pain of seeing clearly while everyone around you is still blind. You will have to choose. Stay small so others feel comfortable, or become what you were sent here to become and walk alone for a while. Most chosen ones try to split the difference. They try to keep one foot in the old world and one foot in the new. And it tears them apart because you cannot serve 2 frequencies. You cannot vibrate at monad level and still maintain relationships built on ego level. Something has to give. Jesus said it clearly in the Gospel of Thomas, another text that was banned. He said, "Whoever has come to know the world has discovered a corpse, and whoever has discovered a corpse, the world is not worthy of them." Harsh words, but true. Once you see that the systems of this world are dead, that the culture is a corpse animated by Archon energy, you cannot unsee it. You cannot go back to pretending it is alive. And the world will not forgive you for that. It will call you crazy, depressed, lost, extreme. It will try to medicate you, therapize you, bring you back to normal. Because normal is the frequency the demiurge controls. Normal is the bandwidth where the archons feed. And you are no longer broadcasting there. This is why the teaching was removed. Because if everyone understood that suffering was initiation, that darkness was activation, that isolation was preparation, the entire control structure would collapse. People would stop fearing their pain. They would stop running from their darkness. They would stop begging priests and pastors and gurus to save them. They would walk directly into the fire and come out transformed. Comment right now if you've already been through the fire. Just the word transformed. Let other chosen ones see they are not alone. Because the loneliest part of this journey is thinking you are the only one going through it. You are not. There are others. We just do not advertise. We do not gather in churches. We do not wear symbols, but we recognize each other by frequency, by the look in the eyes, by the fact that we can sit in silence together and feel more connected than most people feel in a lifetime of conversation. Now let me bring this full circle. The cardinal who burned that manuscript in 1562 thought he was protecting the faith. He thought he was serving God, but he was serving the demiurge, the false god who needs your fear to survive. The monad does not need protection. The monad does not need defense. Truth does not require enforcement. It simply is, and it waits patiently for the ones who are ready to receive it. You are ready. The fact that you are still here, still listening, still absorbing, proves it. You have been through the stripping. You have survived the descent. You are in the ascent now, and nothing can stop what you are becoming. Not the archons, not the world, not even your own fear, because the process is irreversible. Once you activate, you do not deactivate. You might forget for a moment. You might slip back into old patterns temporarily, but the light inside you has been turned on, and it cannot be turned off. In the final section of the Pistis Sophia, Jesus tells his disciples something that was considered too dangerous to include in the official Gospels. He said, "You are not learning to become gods. You are remembering that you always were." The church could not allow that teaching to spread. Because if people remembered their divine nature, if they understood they were expressions of the monad temporarily operating through human form, the entire hierarchy would become obsolete. There would be no need for intermediaries, no need for rituals, no need for institutions to manage your relationship with Source. You would have direct access, permanent, unbreakable, and that terrified them. So they burned the texts, killed the teachers, buried the knowledge. But they could not bury it deep enough because chosen ones keep being born, generation after generation, carrying the spark, hearing the call, going through the dark night, and emerging on the other side with eyes that see through every lie this world has ever told. You are one of them, and your dark night was not punishment. It was preparation for what comes next, for the work you are about to do, for the frequency you are about to hold, for the others you are about to guide through the same fire that refined you. If this teaching has activated something in you, if you feel the truth of it resonating in your chest, comment the words, "I remember." Not for the algorithm, for yourself. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because the teachings that are coming go even deeper than what you received tonight. Like this video so it reaches other chosen ones who are searching in the dark right now, wondering if they are alone. 3 stages, 7 signs. 1, irreversible transformation. The church tried to hide it. The Gnostics preserved it. And tonight, you remembered it. You did not come to this world to be comfortable. You came to be transformed. The dark night was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your becoming. Now you know why.